Hi, good evening. I will be working on this bike tonight. Not 100% sure what I'll be doing. I'll probably say not too sure. Probably be putting the metal bracket that is for the top box on, and a few other bits and bobs. We'll have a look as we go along. But I need to tell you about a correction in what I was saying a couple of nights ago, a couple of things ago, when we were talking about the pair system. I have had a person message me to tell me that what I said was slightly incorrect, and what the pair system actually does, it actually takes fresh air from the airbox, runs it through the head to the exhaust side of the head, I believe, to help with any extra hydrocarbons, is it? I think it is. And that's why sometimes when you hear people shutting off on the overrun, you hear popping and banging, because the exhaust is still sort of burning off the hydrocarbons with oxygen, pretty much probably in the exhaust pipes. It's to help emission control. Where the EGR does it different. So EGRs are only on cars that I'm aware of at the moment, or vans or something like that. They're not on motorcycles. The EGR actually brings exhaust gases back around through I think it brings it through the airbox or through some form of system to reburn them, and that's how they tend to get rid of their hydrocarbons. They sort of reburn it again, sort of thing. The pair system is a different system altogether. It's been on motorcycles for quite a while now. Which one is the better out of the two, I couldn't tell you, but if anyone does know, might be able to tell us, because obviously in the UK at the moment, motorcycles do not have an MOT of any system, so they do not be checked on the emissions, even though they're stated from the factory what the emissions pretty much are. Now, if MOTs and some form of testing actually happened in this country, whether they'd have to change the way they help with emission control, I do not know. As I say, cars tend to have had a lot of the technology before bikes. Injection was on cars first. There was like fly-by-wire on cars first that I'm aware of, unless there's the odd motorcycle out there, but in general to the rule. I think the first bike that I've got fly-by-wire is my 2015 H2, but I think they were on ZX10s and various other bikes a bit earlier than that. That's why they do away with the second throttle bodies, where this has got two throttle bodies, which one controls the amount of air going into the throttle bodies, and probably with that combined with the fuel to help with probably traction control, stuff like that, I believe. I'm not sure. The 14 traction control, I think, on this basically is just like an ignition cutout. From what I felt it work. It could be slightly different than that, but it sort of cuts the ignition to the engine a bit like a ignition cut for an air shifter and stuff like that. Now, that could well be the way the system works, but I know on later systems, like the BMWs and stuff like that, they're actually working on a system that actually feeds the power in a bit better than actual thingy. Like my H2 has got the early traction control, but I am changing it to the later one, so I would probably be able to tell you how that works a bit better, because it has like a gyroscope in it to tell you what lean angle you're on and which direction you go and so on and on. But anyway, something rabbiting on about. I apologise for the mistake before. As I say, these videos are more for inspirational use, and anything I say I would double check through a manual and not just go straight into it. Most things I say are correct. There is a few things of how systems work is a bit more, you know, as I say, I was a car mechanic by trade and adapted it to motorbikes, but things have changed over the years, and so on and that. As the fueling goes and all that, my mate Sam West, you probably know him as the road racer, has got degrees in fuel management and everything, and he he does all that side of it for me once I've built the bike, so he'll have it all tuned in finally and so on and all that. I believe he tends to set road bikes about 13.1 air fuel ratio percentage. When I run my nitrous system, I've been told by my nitrous specialist that to run at a 12.5 to 1, which is a bit richer, just because I think the nitrous and the nitrous oxide can cause hot spots, so you want to run it a bit richer. So anyway, that's what I pretty much know about fueling and all that. As I say, my mate Sam will do a lot more, and hopefully when we get this bike on the dyno, my mate Sam will be able to might be able to do a video and talk us through what he's doing and so on and that. He's off to Macau tomorrow for Macau racing, which is Wednesday tomorrow. This is a Tuesday night recording. To road race over there. Fingers crossed he does well and also, you know, keeps the, you know, rubber side down sort of thing. Anyway, I'll get it off and I will start fitting some of the bits. I've got a lot of aftermarket stuff which is a bit fiddly as well, so it might take me some time with these electronic side of things, but we'll see how we go. But once they're fitted, we're pretty much close then to fitting like panels and so on and that really. Well, probably prepping the tank because I need to put the fuel tank before the fuel pump back in the tank and so on and all that. But anyway, I'll get cracking on with this and I will speak to you shortly. Hi. Right, I've put the light unit on now. You've got 3 screws. You've got one there, all self-tappers, self-tap into the plastic. One there, you've got one there and one on the other side. I'll put these on now before I put my brackets on for the top box, because the fact is once I've got it on, it might be a bit more difficult to get to those screws. I think you can still get to them, but while it's all open I can see where they are, and if I drop them I've got easier access to get to them. I thought I'll do them now. So I'll put the light unit in at the back. I have got an LED black smoked one, which is a bit different from what the original is. The original are normally white clear ones, which I've got one here. So I've gone for a black smoke one this time on it with strong LEDs. Now also what I've done, I've put rear foot pegging on this side with a standard foot peg. I'm going to change that to the standard foot peg as well, because I've got the rubber ones. They're the ones I used when I did race the bike a little bit, or they were on my drag bike before I changed them to some form of racing foot peg, which I've at the back. I've also put this like a heel guard, which normally protects your heels from touching the exhaust that go up underneath. But because my exhaust is not going to go up there, just to help the wife, I thought I'd put them on for now. They may not stay there because they might look a bit strange on the side there with no exhaust underneath it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this big bracket on towards my name on, and I will then get back to you with a little bit more.